The 27th stage of the long journey that the Salesians have undertaken since 1859 took place between the 3rd of March and the 12th of April 2014. We are talking about the General Chapter, through which the entire congregation seeks to know the will of God in order to serve the Church better. 220 chapter members are expected to attend, coming from 131 countries where the Sons of Don Bosco live their ministry at the service of young people. It's a time fixed by the constitutions of the congregation to look at what we have done and what is still to be done, and it is the main sign of unity of the Salesians. Becchi, Valdocco, San Giovannino, where it all began. To check where we are going on the compass and to reinforce our willingness to proceed, it is essential to return to the motivations at the time of origin. For this reason, before the work of the chapter, the members visited the Salesian holy places to rediscover the traces left by Don Bosco. After the death of Don Bosco, Don Rua, his successor for 22 years until 1910, and then Don Albera, who was Rector Major until 1922, during all the dramatic period of the First World War, found themselves having to rethink the system of Don Bosco, his educational system and spirituality, the Salesian mission and identity, in radically different contexts. They were the first then to do this work of reflection on the charism. At the heart of the Church, at the heart of the Gospel. Following closely the footsteps of the founder, the road leads to Rome to experience the intensity of belonging to the Catholic Church in the city of the Pope. Here, as residents in the Salesianum, the delegates will continue to pray, to discuss, to discern. Religious life mysticism. The address by the prefect of the Congregation for Consecrated Life lays the theological and pastoral foundations of GC27. I think the centre we need to look for is love. If the love of God is among us, it makes us become brothers, not looking at ourselves and loving ourselves, but ready to give our lives for each other. This rekindles in our midst the presence of love, that is, of God. This gathering of S.D.Bs directly involves the whole Salesian family, which participates in the definition of the fundamental objectives. Let the community show how the gospel is lived in practice. After the opening of the assembly, the chapter members begin work. I declare the 27th General Chapter of the Society of St. Francis de Sales open. 27th General Chapter, living and working together.
This
work began almost 2 years ago when the Rector Major appointed the regulator. Everything has been done in those 2 years, the preparation and the proper functioning of all the services of the chapter and the methodology of work. I am very happy to share this experience, to see what will happen during this General Chapter. I feel very happy. I see, first of all, an atmosphere of great unity, as if we had known each other for many years. I know almost everyone, but others may not, since you are seeing each other almost for the first time. When the topics were listed and the secretaries chosen, the chapter members got down to work, dividing their time between assembly meetings and commissions. They have a challenging job to learn and understand, looking for the weak points in practice and the abiding potential of the charism. But there is also time to relax, get to know each other better during breaks, in cultural outings and in sports activities. This exercise is part of a long process for the Salesians. It should go well. This approach gives them energy, strength, and the courage to go forward. Who takes a penalty? Do you discern first and then vote? Yes, first discernment. Then we decide, and the one with the strongest shot takes the penalty. And we always win 2-1, sometimes 3-1. To win the game of the chapter, which is more important, the defenders or the forwards? Obviously, the team is the most important. The defense on its own does nothing.
Pivota sono non fa niente.
Halfway through the general chapter, when the participants have got to know each other well and they are deciding on the priorities to be followed by the congregation over the next 6 years, they are ready to tackle the challenging task of electing the rector major and his councillors. On behalf of the Assembly, I asked if you accept. I have to speak in Spanish. Really, I abandon myself to the Lord. We asked Don Bosco and Mary Help of Christians to accompany us. I count on the support of my confreres in the congregation, and with faith, I accept.
Y desde la fe, acepto.
This morning, young people have had an opportunity through the donboscoland.it website to follow the announcement of the new rector major who comes from southern Argentina, where he was provincial. Since yesterday, from the early soundings, many votes were focused on Angel, and his election is a joy for all of us. The most important thing is for him to be a good rector major for the whole congregation.
I think Father Angel will really address those issues with the courage that is required. So I'm very happy.
The meeting with Pope Francis was more than a tribute to the successor of Peter. It was a clear sign that the Salesians are at the heart of the Church. It was also testimony of the friendship between Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio and Father Angel Fernandez Artime from the time they were both in Argentina. Reaching out to marginalized young people requires courage, maturity, and a lot of prayer. And the best must be sent to this work. The very best. The work of the chapter is summarized in a final document which, in the words of the Rector Major, becomes a duty for each province. Dear confreres, with my speech and our final farewell, we bring the 27th General Chapter to a conclusion. It was a true time of grace and the presence of the Spirit. It was a particularly important time, a sign of the unity of the congregation in its diversity, in which, in a truly fraternal meeting, we have brought to an end our community reflection that will help us to remain faithful to the gospel and the charism of our founder, and sensitive to the needs of time and place. On behalf of the President, Father Angel Fernandez Artime, and with the approval of the Assembly, I declare the 27th General Chapter closed. Don Pascual, how would you describe the 27th General Chapter from the point of view of its progress, participation and spirit? For me, it was a wonderful experience of the Spirit that was manifest in great unity and a great capacity for reflection in a very peaceful and deeply spiritual atmosphere. What is the key concept that emerges from the 27th General Chapter regarding the youth situation and the work of Salesians for young people? As I see it, the important thing is that we come out of the chapter determined to be the kind of Salesians Don Bosco wanted us to be. We want to live intensely our vocation as consecrated Salesians. We stake a lot on living in intense fraternity among ourselves, and with an ever more evident commitment to young people, especially those most in need. From your point of view, and knowing the new Rector Major, what do you think will be his personal contribution as he leads the congregation in the next 6 years? In a climate of great harmony, with the image and the concept of the Church that Pope Francis wants to promote, I think Don Angel will really help us to discover the missionary nature of the Salesian vocation, so that our works and activities will always be determined by the needs of young people. Secondly, an element where Don Angel has been enriched by his personal experience in Argentina is undoubtedly Salesian work in co-responsibility with the laity. I have stated that consecrated life has no future without the laity, and not only because we are fewer, but because they are called to give their special contribution as lay people to the development of the Salesian mission. Don Angel has experienced this personally in the province of Argentina. What is the most significant legacy of the Rector Major Emeritus as he hands over to the new Rector Major? I think, as all the chapter members have seen, he is leaving the congregation in a good state of health and a very united Salesian family, with a deep awareness of being family, with many branches of the same trunk, and a very hopeful and confident look towards the near future. Don Pascual, your farewell to the family? I am very happy that the General Chapter will end as we are about to open the doors of the bicentenary. This means that the first expression of our commitment to the radical approach of the Gospel will be born 200 years from the birth of Don Bosco. My wish is that Don Bosco be born again in each of us, that we continue to give all young people dreams for life, and then to make those dreams come true. And your words of thanks, Don Angel? First of all, let me say that for me, it is a profound joy to follow Don Pascual, the 9th successor of Don Bosco, from whom we have received so much. I offer my profound thanks, as I will do again tomorrow, on behalf of the whole congregation and the entire Salesian family. As the son of a fisherman, I am very familiar with sailors' terminology. I would like to say this: he was a great captain who led the ship of the congregation and the Salesian family with a steady rudder, always bringing us calmly to a safe haven, even in fog or when night was falling. I think this sums up what we have experienced in the past 12 years. I say thanks from the very depths of my heart, on my own behalf and on behalf of the Salesians and the Salesian family all over the world, and also on behalf of the Church, because we have worked closely with the Church in recent years.